The following is a presentation of Playfly Sports Properties.
Welcome to another episode of This is Sparta. I am your host, Jason Strayhorn, along with my co-host, Otis Wiley and Jehuu Caulcrick. It is December the 6th, Tuesday, 2022, and we just had a jam-packed weekend, conference championships, NFL portal opened up yesterday. Stuff is flying all over the place right now. People will now, the CFB, the college football playoff that is set. Michigan State now knows its fate as far as the bowl game or not. We're going to get into all those things. But right now we're going to talk about what happened this weekend. We're going to go first off with the Pac-12 championship. USC, they fall.
Oh, yes. You see, this game was, I think, obviously closer than this score. You saw Caleb Williams get, twisted up and playing on a bad foot. And at times where he was legitimately couldn't even move, be mobile, snapping the ball. And, I think that was a real detrimental effect for that team trying to make a comeback. And it's like, take them to the locker room, let the backup at least do something because, Caleb Williams – offensive threat, is his legs. And so you take that away, he's one-dimensional. And, it was tough to see as he was trying his best and then trying to battle through. But Utah also played a great game. But the Pac-12 championship, clearly, Utah is what set this thing off, man, where last episode, Jehuu wanted to put some pressure on the bowl committee. So he got his well wishes on that one for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Utah, you got to give them credit. They came out ready to play this USC team because at this point of the season, USC was firing all cylinders and they were coming in hot. And, Caleb Williams, he was feeling himself. He had the F Utah written on his fingernails, ready to go. And that came back to bite him in the butt. But it was a good game. Utah pulled it off. Congratulations to them.
Right. Caleb Williams, the guy who came in, the fourth-ranked team in the country, it was in their hands as far as the destiny. If they were going to go to the college football playoffs, have a chance to play for a national championship in Lincoln Riley's first year at USC, wasn't able to punch their ticket to the college football playoffs. But do you think that Caleb Williams, since Blake Corum has gone down, is still the clear-cut favorite for the Heisman Trophy, even after that gutsy performance he had in a losing effort against Utah?
Oh, that's a tough one because they're both he's putting at least stats on the board, and I think that's to his advantage. And Blake Corum had a nice stat sheet before he went down, and I can only imagine what he would have put up on Ohio State's defense if he was playing because his counterpart did the thug dizzle on himself.
Yeah, I think Caleb Williams, you can't fault a guy for playing an extra game. You can't hold that against him for getting his team further and playing in the championship, in the conference championship. So I think he did enough to solidify himself throughout the season that he is that guy. And it clearly showed that he is the heartbeat of that team because when he went down, that's when the wheels started falling apart for USC.
Yeah, clearly a dynamic player. Not a lot of us in Big Ten country get a chance to watch USC on a daily basis because we're focused on the Big Ten. But this is a team that will be in the Big Ten in a couple of years, so that's why we're tracking what's going on out there. You're seeing the emergence of all the new coaches that are coming into the Big Ten. It's going to be a very exciting conference from coaches, players, and just the overall footprint. But as we move on to the Big 12 championship game, TCU, which was in a prime position to punch their ticket to a college football playoff, goes into overtime and loses the game. And wasn't enough, though, when you look at it. Number 3 and 4 guys both lost going into this college football playoff, or this conference championship season or weekend. And one team was knocked out, USC, which opened the door for Ohio State. But TCU losing a close game wasn't enough for Bama to leapfrog them to get into the playoffs?
Yeah, shout out to some guys I got on that Kansas State staff I was with at SMU. You know, the head strength conditioning coach Tremaine Carroll. You know, he's a dude right there. And then you know, when you look at this game, like this game was nice. Like it was an opportunity to showcase obviously the Big 12 as, you know, they saw Texas, you know, going to the SEC soon, and then you have Oklahoma as well. And so, you know, looking at this opportunity for Kansas State to put this on the map of, you know, TCU spoiling it, and TCU they were nervous. I think we talked about this where, you know, I didn't want to see a case of they got this party going and they don't get in. Like I felt that kind of close on this vote here, but from being it so close and then beating a top team in TCU, you know, I think that showed that TCU does have what it takes to compete in the CFP college football playoff for top teams here.
Yeah, I don't think it was close at all. Going into the game, I knew TCU win or lose their end. I did not think it was close. You know, they already beat Kansas State earlier in the year, even though it was a close game. But once again, like I said, you can't fault a team for, you know, advancing and playing in the championship. And I know before we talked about
an exciting game, but Georgia just too much for the Tigers as they roll 50-30 in that ball game.
An absolute statement game for the Georgia Bulldogs. They knew going into this game they had to go in there and beat the dog heck out.
I was waiting on you say it with your chest.
We're in the locker room, baby. It's all right.
Georgia had to go there and beat the dog shit out of LSU to prove a point that they're still the big boy on the block. And that's exactly what they did. This game had nothing to do with, you know, Kirby Smart and them could care less about winning the SEC championship. They have the national title on their minds, and that game making a statement and striking fear, you know, making opponents be like, damn, you guys know what it's like. You know what it's like when you see on your schedule a team and that team's coming up and you're watching them and they're hanging points on teams and they're being dominant. Now there's that little self-doubt that creeps in there a little bit. So absolutely, you know, Georgia came out to make a statement, and that's exactly what they did. They put the entire college football playoffs on notice.
Listen, they're going back to back. Like no one's stopping the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean,
well, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about it. I'm just stating it. I'm just telling you what my stance is, and we will argue this later down the road here on the show. Not tonight, but those boys got it, man. And LSU, I mean, Coach Kelly and that team, it was like they are who we thought they were, and some. So obviously, we're going to talk about this later down the road, but it was a game that you thought would be possibly more closer than what it was, but Georgia had the whole thing the entire way. So, you know, that fan base is crazy, man. And they got some guys and dudes on that team that can truly play at the next level right now, in my opinion.
So with LSU, you know, they paid Brian Kelly all that money to come in. And my thought on this on Brian Kelly is, you know, you have these guys. You have like the New York Yankees had Mariano Rivera. He was the closer. They played Enter Sandman when he comes in because you knew he was going to get it done. Brian Kelly does not have a closing bone in his body. He cannot coach his team in the big games. Every time they go to the big game, they get shellacked. No, when he was at Notre Dame, when they gave him playoff chances, BCS chances, all those things get shellacked. And now he's in the SEC. He's going to make it to the SEC championship game. And what's going to come out is his lack of in-game adjustments, and he's going to get shellacked every time because he can't close.
He put up 30 points, though, on Georgia. Now, that's one thing. He put up a lot of yards and 30 points, so it wasn't as if they didn't move the ball or have any success.
Yes, that defense was getting suspect a little bit. So.
Yeah, he put up 30 points on them, but if you look at this box score here, you know, Georgia did all their work early, and, you know, and then they chilled and relaxed at the end there. So it's not, you know, I'm talking early. You got to start fast and go. Second quarter, Georgia outscored LSU 21-3. Boom, done and dusted. They had those boys in the bag.
Hey, I don't know if they took the foot off the gas when they were up 25 points, I think it was. They decided to go for 2.
Because it was a statement game for them. It was a statement game. They tried to make a splash.
Yeah, they did that. They definitely did that. Now, as we move on to our neck of the woods, the Big Ten championship game down at Lucas Oil in Indianapolis, Michigan, that school down the road, faced Purdue in the Big Ten championship game. Hats off to Purdue because they most likely will not be into this championship game anymore as conference or divisions go away. Divisions may go away. Purdue may never see this again. I'm just keeping it real. So if that being said, Mazi Smith, we talked about this in our breaking news show. Would he play? And we said, look, there was no doubt in any of our minds that he was not only going to play in the game, but he was out there for the coin toss. And then we even have him celebrating at the end with the trophy in the background.
Yeah, I kind of not laugh, but Jim Harbaugh's reference in that recent article today was like, I've never seen somebody say haterade and hater tots. What does that even mean? Clearly, the rules, like we talked about, are different there. And we talked about the photo of Mazi Smith pointing the shooting fingers at the trophy, like almost like I'm getting off. I'm cool. I'm clean. I got support. That game was, if you think about Purdue getting into the red zone and could not convert, if they converted all the field goals to touchdowns, it would have been probably a different story if you look at it. That's just my opinion when you're looking at that game. I'm trying to take my haterade off of here, but
no hater tots.
No hater tots over here, boy.
Yeah.
But think about how many times they got in the red zone and convincingly driving the ball down there, and they just couldn't convert in the red zone. So those field goals, you can't catch up and keep up if you keep getting field goals. And when Michigan was still scoring.
Yeah, exactly. You can't exchange 3 points for 6 points every time you're down there. And like you said, going into the half, it was a 1-point game, but Purdue did not have the moxie and the sustainability to go through and hang with the Wolverines. And like Stray said, kudos to Purdue. Thanks for coming. See you in the next decade.
And then the other, we can't get that karma back because we
hey, we've been in that 3 times, so we've been there, and we've been there.
It's true.
And just so, did you guys just read the Heisman finalists were just announced?
Stetson Bennett, Max Duggan, C.J. Stroud, and Caleb Williams. We just talked about Caleb. Now, don't sleep on Stetson. The number 1 team in the country, the Georgia Bulldogs. That kid, I know he's getting Social Security as a college quarterback.
I was going to say that, man, 26, 28. I heard torching.
He's like Chris Winkie was. Remember Chris Winkie from Florida State?
Yeah,
32 years old.
26.
Yeah. But I know you guys are going to laugh at me. I said this earlier that Max Duggan, my sources.
Oh, man.
The sources.
My sources are telling me that guy is a sneaky favorite for that Heisman Trophy. I'm not saying he's going to win it, but he's going to surprise a lot of people in the voting, and that's going to shift around a lot of these votes here for these Heisman Trophy winners here.
Yeah. You kind of wish that they will prolong the Heisman past the CFP championship to be
nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
You got what? All 4 of them besides Caleb. Well, the 3 out of the 4 that's playing in more exclusive bowl games and CFP. So I feel like maybe this is the icing on the cake. Like it's close neck and neck.
It's your body of work on the season. It's your body of work on the season.
I get that, but I'm saying they should reconsider.
And how much do you smile to see Blake Corum left off after the treatment that K9 got last year, and all those guys down the road?
Absolutely.
There
ain't no doubt about it.
I agree.
It's amazing. Like Blake
and
Corum.
what's the stat? What's the stat? What was the final stat? Like obviously K9's last season to Blake Corum's season.
I know they both had 18 touchdowns, but K9 had about 200 more yards than Blake. Now, granted, Blake missed what? 2.5 games, something like that.
Him. That's on him.
That's on him.
Hey, that's coming from a former running. That's a running back talking about running back.
I saw Javon Ringer had a meniscus tear. 2 weeks he was back. So I had some loose bone chips floating in there. Got that scope. The meniscus moved around a little bit. I was back out there. That's on him. I know exactly what he's doing. He's preparing himself for the next level. He's not risking it or anything like that. So this opportunity to etch your name on the Heisman Trophy, to be in the Nissan Heisman commercial, the Heisman House, wasn't important enough to him. So I'm not going to sit here and feel bad for him. And I love those facts. And I hope the people down the road are burning couches and saying, Blake Corum got screwed because Blake Corum screwed Blake Corum.
Ooh. Hey, maybe it's just me. I didn't see the damage. I remember watching Javon Ringer's injury. Like, I saw that happen.
Yeah.
This one, I don't know. I mean, he's getting surgery, whatever, but, man, he's a tough kid. I can't take anything away from that, but just didn't see it being like a catastrophic injury. Like one of those, who was it, Clinton Portis, the kid from Miami that just got his knee
Willis McGahee.
Willis McGahee.
Yeah.
One of those where it's like, whoa.
Corum, he's protecting his investment, and rightfully so. He should do that.
So you think so he has no other years eligible to play? Doesn't he have extra years?
He's going to the league.
Absolutely no doubt about it.
He's done. He's going to the league. That's why he's not playing. If he was coming back next year, he would be playing in the college football. He's going to have a month to get that surgery recover. He's going to have a month, but he's going to the league. That's why he's not playing. He's going to declare for the league.
He's got to declare for the league because of Donovan Edwards. Donovan is clearly the new feature back at Michigan, as you see the production that he's had the last 2 weeks. Another guy that, when you look at that matchup, if you see Michigan that's going to be playing TCU in the first round of the playoffs out in Phoenix, and Michigan, and then you're going to have Georgia,
and home field advantage
State in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a difference, right there. You're going to see, it's hard for us to say this, but it looks like it's going to be a Georgia-Michigan national title game, the way things are matching up right now. And as you said, Otis, you think that there's nobody that's going to beat Georgia?
I disagree with that. I totally disagree with that.
Listen.
I disagree with that.
One, I'm a horn frog this next month.
You going like this?
No, that's not the.
That's Baylor.
It's this. It's this. Yeah, it's like that. You know what I mean? The horn frog. They got different things. It's the horn frogs. Yeah. Because you got what? Hook 'em horns. There's
right.
all that craziness, right? I truly believe that TCU, when they play ball, they're a force to be reckoned with. And I'm saying that because Sonny Dykes got those guys rolling in year one, coming straight from down the road at SMU. I just feel like if their defense makes the proper stops, that offense is electric. So it's one of those things that Michigan got to tighten up on that secondary because Purdue's wide receiver was getting busy back there, one-on-one. So it's just kind of things where I think it's going to be more evenly played there. Like they may give Michigan a run for their money.
I agree with you 100%, Otis. I think TCU's firing all cylinders. The key for them in that game, they're going to have to make two crucial stops defensively so they can get that advantage and to be the one that's not chasing. When I say not chasing, I mean, that are up all the time, and the Michigan has to tie them or go ahead. They can't be chasing, so they have to get those two crucial stops there. And if I'm a Michigan fan, I'm not, hee-hee-ha-haing over here, because I think on the other side of that bracket there, don't sleep on the Ohio State Buckeyes. And if you get Ohio State, and it's Michigan, Ohio State, and Michigan fans think we already beat them once, as my grandpappy will always say, the same thing that make you laugh will make you cry. So,
oh, we've heard that one already. Okay.
This is true.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a rematch. I mean, Michigan versus Ohio State. But, as you said, TCU, very formidable opponent. I did get a chance to watch them against Texas in that ball game, and Texas tried to come back late in that ball game to make it competitive, but TCU just throttled them, physically. That team is not the typical Big 12 team, the way that we traditionally know the Big 12 to be: high offensive output, very little defensively, not very big up front. This team looked very stout up front. They can run the ball at will. They can play defense, man. I mean, this is an exciting matchup. I think the playoff committee got it right in the 4 teams that they selected, and I think
whoa. The playoff committee, you were the one that was saying Alabama was going to get in.
See, here we go.
Oh,
I didn't say Alabama. Listen.
Hey, look here.
Let me tell you something. The lobby for Alabama, if this carried on till Tuesday, which today, and it wasn't on selection on Sunday, I'm telling you, those voters, those people that are in that committee could have been swayed. The fact that it was on Sunday at noon, as early as it's been in a while, by the way, and you've seen all that outpouring of support at the TCU facility. Did you guys watch the show? Did you see how many people were there? How many cameras were there? There were no cameras in there. There were no Rolling Tide team meetings and cameras around there. They didn't have time. They weren't
going to be in it. That's why they weren't there, because they knew they weren't going to be. You have 2 losses. There's no way you're going in. I don't give a damn who's coaching you. Nick Saban, Jesus, Moses, anybody. You're not going to get in. You're not going to get in over a 1-loss team that played in a conference title game when you were sitting at home and you lost to Tennessee.
Hey, look, listen.
You seem very angry about it.
Listen, look, the media had always got Nick Saban in that nice crimson colored vest jacket.
Hey, was he not on Fox during the Big Ten championship?
Man, he was on lobbying like, we deserve to be in this. Like, hey man, it's okay to go to a regular ball game. Like,
those days are gone. Those days are gone.
You had an opportunity.
Nick is gonna give him hell no matter what he go. Look, man. All I'm saying is that lobby is heavy to be considered. CJ, you gotta understand this. You're saying the 2-loss. There's a lot of 2-loss teams. I didn't see their coaches on during the Big Ten championship game talking, coming on TV, breaking in there like, hey, talking about. I mean, the only chip he had to play was the point spreads and favoritism as far as Vegas is concerned, which is. It's a weak argument. just say the least.
Also, strength of schedule. Like, bro, you got those matchups, right? Balling right to the top teams, but then you play those cupcakes.
Yeah, you play the Citadel.
McNeese State and Citadel.
Yeah.
And them. Out of the 82 bowl-eligible teams, Michigan State was not able to backdoor a bowl spot with 5 wins. As we found out this past weekend and championship weekend, that teams like Buffalo and they were able to get to their 6th win, and Michigan State will not be bowling this year.
Well, anywho, we are at the crib. We are turning the page. We are shooting ourselves in the foot because we had the opportunity to get bowl eligible. But I think from a standpoint of all the injuries, what we went through, like, it's probably for the best, in my opinion, but it's an opportunity to turn the page and truly focus on how do we get this back on track. We got roster management coming, shuffling, transfer portal. It is a 24 hours daily this month where they are truly looking, how do we set this up for success next season? Which we need all the time to get healthy, but also develop what we got and what we're going to try to bring in here.
My question is, how do you hit on it? How do you refresh the page? Do you use the transfer portal as a splash, as an NFL free agency market there? Or do you go the traditional route that not a lot of people are doing? Not a lot of colleges are doing it because coaches aren't afforded the time that they were afforded 3 years ago by recruiting kids, bringing in those classes, having that blood, sweat, and tears together from freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. How do you do that? What's the approach to that? Do you just go in the portal and get a couple guys and then rely on high school guys coming in and building a culture and building a program? Or do you continue to hit the portal and bringing guys in from all walks of life in different areas and hoping to find this bond for them?
Well, guys, there's a lot that needs to happen. I think for Michigan State to get back on track, I think that Mel Tucker and his staff is going to work through these things, through the transfer portal, through high school recruiting. Right now, the portal just opened up a day ago. Guys are on the road. The coaches have been on the road. I've seen them. They were with one of the prize recruit, Stanton, the kid, the big offensive lineman out of Alabama. It looks like Mel was there with Jay Johnson and Coach Cap, all eating very, very good in the neighborhood down there at almost like a family reunion type of dinner. So, they're out there sealing up, making sure those guys aren't being flipped. They're trying to get new recruits. They're fishing the portal, and then they're working to see, which guys they want to save on our own roster right now and doing roster management from that aspect. But, if you're listening right now, I want to thank you guys for listening. Be sure to click the thumbs up button, the like button, and subscribe to our show. And here's a message about subscriptions right now. Click on the link in the bio anywhere: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, even TikTok. Go to that link tree and you can find us where we can get tickets in hand. I know it's hot now for the basketball season. Everybody wants to be inside and stay out of that cold weather and get in that Breslin. Follow us and we'll get those tickets to you. Welcome back. We're going to get into the next segment of the show, which is going to be presented by IHOP. And here's the message from our friends over at IHOP.
'Twas a wintry day, and at IHOP quite soon, hot cinnamon apples would be coaxed with a spoon on the fluffiest French toast with red currants on top. We wish you a happy holiday, only at IHOP. New Ginger Snap Apple French Toast, part of our new holiday menu. Try all 3 flavors.
Prime time to Colorado. Guys, what do you think about this splash right here? Coming out of Jackson State, 12-0, still has a championship game to play. Now the new coach for the Colorado Buffaloes.
First of all, shout out to the creative marketing crew here. This Photoshop, and they got the icy snow mountains on the shades. They pimped Primetime Coach Prime very well out coming out to marketing this move. Jehuu already said his sources had told him already that was happening, and clearly he was correct. So keep on bringing that information, that classified information here. There's that clip of that, sports broadcaster or the news local guy that was interviewing Dion. That I feel like we need to show that clip, but it was a hilarious interaction with Coach Prime on talking about hinting at, hey, do you got room? Do you want to come to Denver with me to go see a football game? And Coach Prime's just saying, what you talking about, man? Like, this is before they even did the championship game, and so they just bust out laughing. But we should show a little clip of that one.
My favorite team is the Kansas City Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
Next week they play the Denver Broncos in Colorado. I'm going with you, and we gonna ride together.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's a good. Now that's a good one. That's a good one now. I gotta admit, now that's a good one. That's a good one now. That was a good one. Come on, sit back down here. Come on. So why are you gonna do your boy like that?
No. I never been there. And
Me either.
But I'm going.
I played there.
Well, I'm going next week when the Chiefs play Bronco in Colorado, Denver, Colorado.
What you trying to say?
I just want to know. Can we ride together?
Why am I going?
What do you think? Well, let's go. So they're playing this week. My team played the Bengals.
Oh, you ain't no good, man.
But Coach, I'm just asking.
No good.
Coach, you told me that.
I ain't tell you what.
You told the fella. They told the man they'll ask a question. Yeah. He asked a question, and he asking all this stuff about your beard and all that. You ain't said. But when I asked you, can I ride with you to Colorado?
Why would you assume I'm going to Colorado?
I don't. Cause you'd have been to all these places. I've never been to Colorado.
But why would you assume I'm going to Colorado?
No,
could you ride with me?
No, I'm just.
Those Kansas City Chiefs. That's good stuff, though. Is the Chiefs playing at the real?
Yes. The season be over with. And look, the season be over. So we go together, Coach.
No, you got to stop, man.
Okay.
This is good, though. I got to admit, this is your best one up. This is your best one up. You thought that thing got, dog.
I did.
You thought that thing got.
I did.
You thought that thing
I asked you no questions about none of
I
that.
appreciate it.
But Coach Prime and AD Rick George, when I used to work with my last employer, I was running all of the Lead One Association. That's all the FBS athletic directors in the country at Power 5 Division I. And we always had this conference. And so the AD Rick George was on the board of Lead One at the time. And, always interacting with him it was always like a good interaction. And, him going out to pay what Coach Prime, is worth and giving him an opportunity to get into the Power 5 speaks volumes on, his decision-making on there. And so I think that this is a great move, man. It's an opportunity of upward mobility. I know that we're getting a lot of issues on the social handles with them talking about, how did he give up on the kids that he had there at Jackson State, and that's a topic of conversation. But this is a good move. This is also talking about the press conference, and also let's transition to that first transition meeting when he talks to the team that's currently there, and that's something that we're gonna bring up right now.
Well, before that, I mean, how's it going to be when he hits the "Give him my theme music" the first time in Colorado? Is the band going to be able to keep up with him?
They played some theme music for him walking into that team meeting.
They did, but that was
theme music, but it was a different song though.
Wasn't that all eyes on me?
Yeah,
it was all eyes on me.
Yeah. So
it wasn't my hitters.
Yeah. The Colorado.
I just want to know, hey, how quickly do you throw out the love word? Like he straight up said, "I love you, Rick George." AD already. AD's like, "I love you too, Prime." Like,
yeah.
Shoot,
so they got to know each other over the last month. Right?
Yeah.
This has been going on for a little while. See, I mean, that's how these things go.
Well, yes, it's been going on for a while because it was weeks ago when my source told me that Coach Prime was going to Colorado. And
hey, Otis, you know he's starting to have this like LeBron James vibe. Like that's how you just happening. I knew it.
You know why I can say that? Because when I told you guys, especially Otis was like, "Man, ain't no way Prime going to Colorado." Like that's what he said.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I did put a little extra in there, kind of like Eddie Murphy Coming to America in the barber shop. Hey, man, you ain't never seen Dr. Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther the King. That's what he said.
Yeah, but no, with this move here, a lot of people are giving Coach Prime flack for this, for leaving an HBCU university when he went in there to, he said his goal, his purpose was to uplift the university and put some attention on the SWAC. And, you can't take away anything that guy did for that conference, those universities in the last 3 years. When did you see SWAC games on a more current rotation on ESPN? It was when Coach Prime came in there. He uplifted those. He took that university and turned it upside down, turned it on its head. People are talking about it. People are donating money, to colleges, historical Black colleges and universities. So give that man his dues for that. And now he's taken that passion somewhere else to elevate, Black coaches in Power 5 rankings and in the, FBS conferences. He's doing those things. He's transitioning to another level to do that. But I will say, if I was a member of that Colorado team, I'll be calling my mama after that press conference that he did.
Your point, he elevated Black coaches and staff wise. And, the one thing that's really going to be talked about is, I know you're bringing your son over to be the quarterback. And if you're the quarterback on Colorado, that's an immediate well,
he's gone. He's already in the portal.
He's gone.
He had to go.
He's already in the portal.
I know he is. But I'm saying, you should, the way you announce, hey, Colorado fans, meet your new quarterback. The amount of feeling that, that is just an ultimate big boss move that we're seeing, and it's public. I love it.
The thing that's going to be the most, I guess, interesting is his quotableness. Prime, because when you listen to if you listen to this whole transition speech to the team, there was a lot in that. It was heavy, and it was very forward. I'm coming. I mean, I felt like he took a little bit of that tuck coming for himself, right? And he's very, very articulate. He can come out with. He has new ways to motivate players. He's a minister up there. He's like a great orator, right? And he said. He said a few positions are already spoken for. He said, yeah, I'm bringing about 10 or 11 with me. Yeah, I bring my own luggage, and it's Louis. Now, you take what people have now changed that to say is he told all the players at Colorado to get in the portal, and that he got his own players coming in there, and they all Louis. The way that his words are going to be twisted can either uplift him or demonize him. And that's what you're going to see here. And it's going to be also interesting to see now that he's in a Power 5 structure, he's going to have to deal with something that he hasn't had to deal with before. Coming from Little League to high school to the SWAC, you don't have board of regents and trustees and athletic directors that have pressure from donors. He hasn't had that yet. So it's going to be an interesting dichotomy to see how that whole drama plays out. If you guys understand where I'm coming from, because we see this in the Big Ten on a daily basis, how the political side of things affect the game itself. And Prime is coming in as a guy who's played 2 sports at his highest level and had a lot of success, and now having success coaching in the SWAC. Will he be able to navigate those waters?
Yeah, I think he definitely will be able to navigate those waters, because the biggest thing about him, what he's going to do is, and this is the smartest thing that he's going to do, because he was not at Jackson, he was not a coordinator or anything like that. He's going to surround himself with the best coaches that he can find, and Colorado's going to allow him to and give him the resources too, because this hire is putting Colorado football. Before this hire, how many times, other than if you're in Michigan, about hearing Mel Tucker came from Colorado. Did you hear about Colorado football? You didn't. It has been decades since Colorado football was really prominent, and now they're on the forefront. They're on the ticker. They're on the cover page of ESPN and everything like that. So Colorado's going to they're going to scrape up the resources to allow him to surround himself with the best coaches, the best scouts, the best recruiters that he can find. So it's going to put him, all he's going to be doing is just managing and motivating, getting in press conferences, talking, doing his thing and drawing money to that conference. He's going to draw attention from recruits to that school. And you're going to see it. And Colorado, the AD, the presidents, the board of regents, like you just mentioned, they're going to sit back and start reaping the benefits and the rewards for that. But he has to win.
He definitely got to win, man. You talk about Cordell Stewart, Michael Westbrook back in those days, man. Eric Bieniemy. I don't know if you guys probably in diapers when Bieniemy was running that rock back in the day. Now he's an offensive coordinator.
I definitely was.
He's an offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, but it's been that long ago since Colorado was truly relevant, and they've been. I mean, what were they? 1-11 last year. So yeah, there's definitely
guys were those. And you say he's bringing his own luggage. He damn well should bring his own luggage when you win one game. In the Pac, so you win one game. Yeah, everyone's in the chopping block then. That's why that coach is gone. His assistants are gone. Everyone's in the chopping block. You won one game and you expect to be there. That's what people don't understand. When you sign a scholarship, people think, oh my God, you got a 4-year full ride. No, year to year, you have to sign that scholarship. People don't understand that. People don't know that. That's a year-to-year thing, and it's how you perform. So that's why the pressure, and that's why when they say, student athletes should be paid. Yes, because it's all that mounted pressure to perform and be there for that next year. So when you only win one damn game, someone's going to bring their own luggage because they're not going to be left like the coach that you won one game were. That coach is out on the unemployment line.
Yeah. Without question. I mean, we talk about transition speeches. We're going to get into the transition speeches. So
one more thought, man. Look, one more thought. Like, people fail to realize Prime, if he sticks to what his DNA is as a coach, but as a person, which we already know Prime is going to be Coach Prime, is he's a leader of men. Like, he is running a program of excellence. And, he's not just talking it. He is truly walking it, especially with Jackson State. Those guys never seen a structure. I mean, I won't discredit his predecessor there at Jackson State, but I'm saying the structure that he brought into the pro style element of coaching these kids on and off the field, I think that speaks volumes of what Colorado may have obviously been missing. And that's where he's going to take over. And he's not switching up, and I'm sure Prime talked to Rick George and was like, listen, if I'm going to come, I'm not coming to be anyone's, I say puppet, but more so I'm going to be me, and I need you to let me be me and trust that being me is going to get us to success. It's going to get us to flip the tide. So I think that Colorado they've already exposed themselves that they are wanting change. And in order to get the change that they want, they got to go get the best. And Rick George and his staff and team did the best that they could to go get the best. And this I think, is a perfect fit.
The best for their program.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes. And I think you hit a good point there, Otis, about Coach Prime being him. And Jason, you said it earlier too, the Board of Regents, all these things were probably talked about. The perception, the image, the way that Coach Prime dresses. He's not going to be dressing like other coaches in that league. It's going to be a little different. He's going to be riding around his golf cart. He's going to be doing things a little different. It's going to be that, mama, there goes the neighborhood. A little bit. But, they've already talked about those things. It's that thing. Do you win or do you want to stay mediocre? What you got to pick your battle.
Listen, flashback to when I was a little jit and Deion Sanders was on the Dallas Cowboys. That's when I was living in Pflugerville, Texas, born and raised in Austin. We go to training camp where they had training camp at St. Edward's University back then. And I remember, like, when you see like a superhero or you see a role model like that's flashy but like represents the culture, like as a young boy, you see Deion Sanders come out the locker room and they have to take golf cart. He's always been in that golf cart game. The golf cart had full decked out rims, a full surround system, and he was playing music like just as you see as a coach right now. And like you knew Deion Sanders was coming. And like you just kind of stop and be like, man, that's prime time, bro. Like that's Deion Sanders. And watching him in action in practice truly was like, man, this dude is amazing, electric. He's superhuman. And that's just a little flashback because I'm like, the same guy you see as a head coach, he's been his way since day one and hasn't switched up, which is very respectful. I respect it.
Right.
But talking about transition meetings, because I know you brought that up. And me and Jehuu, all three of us have been a part of a Michigan State coaching transition.
Which is an unusual thing, you know, for a lot of college football players. You talk about like not only Michigan State, but like around the country. It's a unique time to be involved in a coaching transition where you're the coach who's been ousted, fired, or left for greener pastures, so-called greener pastures, and now a new coach comes in. This is the first time I think that they've actually taped one of those and broadcast it out for the world to see, like with social media. You know, this happens every year to different teams, but this is the first time that I can recall it ever being, you know, where somebody can like listen in on the full meeting, like from when he walked in that room until he was ready to walk out of that room.
That's a good point. That's a good point because typically that meeting is behind closed doors, and that's with your team one-on-one.
It was the full thing too.
Yeah.
Let's go back a little bit to they've never showed a coach telling his players he's leaving, and
so it was the whole thing. Like it was the beginning to the end.
This is different. This is totally different. Like he says, let's get it out and let's talk. Like that was one of the. He like I can remember Nick Saban saying that to the players at Michigan State that he wasn't leaving, and then he left. Right, right.
That happens a lot. It happens a lot.
When Nick Saban came in. I remember that when he came in and gave a speech, and the Coach Manny gave his hamburger stand speech about. I mean, he invoked fear on every player in that room. I wish that stuff was on tape. He probably wouldn't have made it 20 years because some activists would have came out and said that he wasn't, right for the students. But I'm telling you, like that was a unique thing. But for a guy like Deion to show him talking to his former team now and then being right up front with them and telling them what's going to happen. I want you to hear from me. I don't want you to hear from nobody else. Now then they show him talking to the new team guys, and he says, ask the questions now. Y'all been talking in the locker room before. You don't leave here and start talking and running your mouth after that. Talk to me right now. That was like in your face, bold. Let's get it out there as real can get as far as college football.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking about, and we were talking about this offline a little bit from transitioning from when Coach D, you know, when John L. Smith was fired, Coach D comes in there. And in the back of my head, I knew I was still going to be at Michigan State. Was there a question of, okay, will I still be a tailback, you know, or is he going to move me to fullback? Because I knew he liked to, you know, run a 21 set or everything like that. And being a bigger back, they'd be like, okay, let's put him a fullback. So I knew I was still going to be at Michigan State. So that wasn't that fear in the back of my head. But this, when they were showing Coach Prime talking to this Colorado team that went 1-11, there were a lot of guys who was like, am I going to be here? Do I fit this persona? Do I fit this role here? So that was that question. That's that difference there. And I, as a player, I appreciate the transparency that Coach Prime brings along. He said, yes, I'm bringing luggage with me. My son, he's going to be the starting quarterback. Hunter, the DB, he's going to be coming here and being the DB here. My son Shador, he's going to be the DB. My other son's going to be filming everything. He's put everything out there. So there's nobody saying, oh, I didn't know, I was misled, that's why I'm going to hit the transfer portal. This is your opportunity to do so now. And he put that out there on the table for everyone. And I can appreciate that. But it was a total different transition from when Coach D'Antonio came in and that speech that he gave to us players. And Otis, you can go more into details about this speech there because you do a better Coach D impression than me.
No, because you probably wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, talk about that, guys. How was that transition speech? Because I know, D'Antonio was on the staff when Saban came in, but knowing the kind of guy he is, like, was it a fiery speech? Did he invoke fear into you guys, or did you feel like real warm and fuzzy?
Listen.
I wasn't paying attention, Otis, because I was looking at that big old Ohio State championship ring.
You and me both, but the ring. So, we all like sophomore year, Jehu's junior year. Like I was in surgery. Like I had wrist surgery right at the end of the season. So like once we knew like John L. Smith gave his speech to us, which that's something that we should talk about. Prior to that Penn State game, like we were in the same situation, like I talked about on our episode, to go, if we win this game against Penn State, we get to go bowl game. So they notified the staff. Ron Mason, the AD at the time, notified the staff right before, like that week of practice. And so I think it was Thursday where he brought the team together and was like, "Hey, fellas, we've been notified we're fired, and we're gonna do all that we can to win this game. And if we do, we're gonna spend all their damn money." So when you think about that, we're like, oh, yeah, we're going to play for our coach who recruited us. Oh, we love John L. We're playing. We lose. Obviously, we know we're not going to have a coach. You kind of start thinking, all right, what is next for me? Because we didn't have the luxury to go transfer right out and play. There was even if the coach got fired, like you still had to sit out. And so I think we all were thinking, who will be the next person? Some of our counterparts and our teammates were part of the search or helping the search.
I was in that meeting.
Yeah, like what do we want in a quality of a coach as they go out and search for it? We start hearing all the rumors, those four guys that, listed at the top four. And at this moment, I didn't know of Coach D. I mean, I do know we were watching, Cincinnati be successful. And, we didn't know truly what the other, deal was. But from a standpoint of when he gets the job, that we're in that room, the old Smithson Auditorium, and to Jay's point, he's hitting the national championship ring from Ohio State on his hand, and he's hitting that podium. And strategically, I'm not sure if he was aware, but I think he was when he was trying to make this point that we are going to win championships, and you guys are going to be the foundation. It was a different tone because he was stating right out the gate, you guys are my guys. Like, so he kind of cleared the room in the air. What he did say is that everybody's job is up for evaluation. Like,
pull the weeds.
You say what again?
Pull the weeds.
Yeah, he said we're going to pull the weeds, man. And then that's when he started talking about we're all going to get on one train. We're going to go together. That's the only way we're going to do it. But we're going to pull the weeds. Basically, the weeds will pull themselves. And so when he starts switching this up, we truly people were like, if you in the locker room, people were nervous, man. Like if you're messing up with the other coach, the stuff that's off the field, like that can easily get you like pulled out. Like you basically left the meetings like, man, am I one of those weeds? Like you start self-reflecting and start looking internally like, man, what did I do to even be valued or warranted that I can at least get, if I can at least go to this next team, or do I need to go and look at the transfer? I don't even know what the transfer portal looks like because I never, back then I didn't know what it looked like because I never really got to that point of where I was going to transfer. To Jay's point, I knew I was staying here because I selected this university for the university's perspective, and I was having success. So like, I mean, I'm going to fight for my job basically.
Right.
But yeah, it was a different tone.
I'm gonna tell you guys what. I'm gonna tell you guys one thing you guys were afforded was probably the softest transition in the history of college football, because let me tell you, that right there. Like when you talk to one Mark D'Antonio, he takes pride in the fact that they didn't lose many guys. Mm-hmm. He talks about that all the time. He'll say, "Well, you know, one thing that's we got here, we ain't lose anybody."
Because we had some dogs, yo.
No. It's not about dogs. It's not. You guys were losing a lot of games, by the way. We're losing a lot of games. Okay?
I mean, yes.
So there's some bad people.
Scheme. Over
okay, it's 100% scheme. You guys lost more games than Perlis's guys lost. Just so you know.
Scheme.
But it was bad. It was we
schemes.
you got. But look, and you had some arrogant players that were mailing it in when they shouldn't have a lot of times too. Guys that were maybe not treating themselves the right way during the weeks that would be preparing for games. So those things that you have to evaluate that. But he had his culture, his philosophy was much more family and together oriented, and like, hey, we gotta all go in the same direction versus the typical coaching change. This is what Deion is coming in more atypical than not. You know, he's showing you, he's being transparent, but he is coming in with hey, we're gonna run some of you off, because there was a question that came up like, have you thought about, you know, what kind of what positions you're looking to change, or are you what kind of who's your strength and conditioning guy? And he says, I haven't thought about that. He said, I'll get back to you on that. He said, but you know, some of you guys we're going to run off, and then the other guys we're going to try to make quit. Mm-hmm. He said that. And he said, if you're on this list of you ain't worth a damn, you out of here anyway. So like, that's way different than what Mark D'Antonio came into Michigan State saying. He didn't just flat out get rid of people. Now, there's some weeds that you talked about, and that makes you wince, just that part, right? Imagine if he talks about a list. Some list that someone has.
It was a list.
You don't even know your name's on the list.
Oh, there was a list. There was a list for sure. There was a list for sure.
The thing that I think, you know, Coach D'Antonio's approach, and I can respect that, is because he came in respecting us as players, and that's how, you know, we, you know, earned his respect. So I think there was that little give and take, you know, to say that, because, you know, I think Coach Prime came in because he wants people to leave. Coach D didn't want people to leave, you know, if they were supposed to be there. So that's why I think those two approaches are a little different.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because of
I know exactly why it is.
Or the day and the era that we're in?
The era that we're in. It's when Coach D came in, he had 3-4 years.
Yeah, they promised him a rebuilding phase. Yeah.
You had that 3-4 years to rebuild. Right now, you got 2 years tops. With transfer portal and everything, you got 2 years tops. And the way that Coach Prime's coming in hot like that, with the glitz, the glamour, the walk-in songs, the walk-out songs, everything, that leash, because he's gonna be scrutinized based on everything. Yeah, you got chains. Yeah, you got swag. Yeah, you're dancing. Win a damn game, they're gonna say.
Hey, win a damn game. Listen, when he starts to talk, and then look, this starts to close, and then it's just JU's world. That's what he goes.
JU's world. Hey guys, look, man. Look, we gotta transition. I know we could talk, man. We could be on these shows for a couple hours at a time, but like, let's talk about the dogs in the league, man. Highlights from this weekend.
Yeah,
Josiah
Scott. Listen, you kind of like when this happened. First of all, it's against Aaron Rodgers, so that's like bucket list, right? Anybody want to get that, but you know, when he got it and then he starts running, it was like, oh, this is first career interception. I'm like, yo, Scott's out here doing it, baby. Like, you get a good pick, and he's playing for the Eagles, man. And the Eagles are having a great season thus far. So, like, to be on that team and then that secondary, and then it's a Spartan dog, like, that shows, like, one, Coach Barnett is worth. He's that guy. Coach Barnett's putting guys in the league. It was just good to see, you know, another secondary guy from one former DB to the next. He's showing up for Spartan Nation.
What you do with that ball after he ran and celebrate? You run straight to the equipment guy and say, "Hey, save this for me." To put tape around it. Just Guy Scott's first NFL INT. Boom. Next thing you know, it's sitting in your locker, and that's going on your mantle right there.
That's it. Jay, you got it down. Get that ball right over.
I got one from Favre.
Ooh.
No, I was playing offense.
I know. So
he handed it to you.
Oh.
No. I caught it in warm-ups.
He caught it in warm-ups.
Hey, he's like, it's going to be worse someday. It's going to be worse someday.
Right.
How about down in Pittsburgh? So in Atlanta, right? Connor and Cam Hayward, you know, they're the legendary sons of Ironhead Hayward. Ironhead had them both in the state of Georgia. They're from Atlanta. They're locals. They went back there, visited his grave, go to play the Falcons, and Connor scores his first career touchdown.
Man, let's talk about that route, though, because he had them boys beat 5 yards, 7 yards. Oh, got him on the okie doke. Little out and up slip. He looked like he slimmed down a little bit, too.
And you know, with this play here, and you hit on everything on this, Stray, you know, them being from Atlanta, one visit his grave. Don't you put it past Coach Mike Tomlin. He knew how special it was for the Hayward family. And Ironhead Hayward played for the Falcons. So yes. I think all through the week, now they had this like, hey, let's get him a touch in there so that he has the opportunity to score and honor his family. You know, so I think, you know, that was very cool by the organization. And you could see by the way his teammates were running to him to celebrate. Really cool. And it's how great is it to be on the same team as your big brother? You know, that's you can't beat that.
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it's not by accident that the Steelers have, I think, 4 sets of brothers on their team.
Right.
Mike Tomlin does a phenomenal job with that.
Man, look, we also we don't talk about Hayward as much as like one of the missing pieces. Like we give K9 everything, but dude, Hayward stepped up big for us last season, that 11-2 season. And you think about the missing hole that we had where, you know, we got some tight ends that we thought would replace him, you know, put some more production on there. But this guy was like multi-dimensional for us on the offensive side, and that just transitioned into the league. And it's kudos to the Spartan Dawg and Hayward doing this thing, man, getting that first touchdown. Now, I wish we would have saw that Benny Fowler dance with him. Like, he would have did something different, did the gritty or something, but that's not him, man. He's a guy that just works, gets the touch, got the touchdown. I'm good.
Speaking of gritty, some of the worst gritty out there is from one Kirk Cousins, and he's balling in Minnesota.
Absolutely. Hey, man, not say finally, because it's been 11 years, but he's putting together, like you could tell, like he is in control. Like this guy he got weapons too. I mean, you got Adam Thielen and you got Justin Jefferson. I mean, those are 2 good 1-2 punches here.
Kirk, my first cousin.
Baby, Holland's finest, baby. Holland's finest.
I just want him to let us on his golf course he just bought.
We got to get Kirk on the show. We will do that. Now, speaking of, like, so that's the Dogs in the news. Any transfer portal news so far? Only 2 dogs so far that have been in the portal that are as of now. Like when you're talking about the portal opening up just yesterday on Monday, and that was Deshaun Mallory and Jalen Hunt, 2 defensive linemen who were productive in the end of the season. Didn't really see this one coming, guys.
No.
I'm sorry, Mama. I never meant to hurt you.
I think that's the wrong song.
I'm cleaning out my closet.
Oh, yeah, you got to get to that bit. Yeah.
Cleaning out the closet. Cleaning out all of Coach D's leftover. And making it Coach Tucker's program now. It's, you know, I think the homage, the respect was there. And now it's going to be fully Coach Tucker's guys that are in there now.
It's time, huh?
I don't know, man. It's just like we talked about. Maybe they've been on the sheet this entire time. Like you had opportunities to show you what you got, and we haven't seen it till late when it bloomed. But I mean, it is what it is, man. You saw, Michael Fletcher, going in, one of my Carmen Ainsworth guys, and then you got obviously the first was our place kicker. So honestly, I'm surprised we haven't had more just yet, but it's one of those things that we're gonna go day by day on it.
Chase Carter.
Chase Carter, he entered it.
Wow.
Well,
he's a young guy.
The whole D line is is going. But hey,
so does that mean we got some dogs in that house coming up?
Yay.
Some dogs. Is there some dogs in the house? I mean,
that means there's 4 additional spots open on the roster. If you think about it, for the recruiting side and the portal side. I mean, it looks like the entire Texas A&M team is in the portal. For real.
They offered
I think Jimbo Fisher's in the portal.
Jimbo's in the portal.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Every time I refresh my screen, another Texas, two more Texas A&M player.
Please don't leave. He's doing lobbying right now.
Man,
that collective, they want their money back.
Yeah, I think they can't sustain it. $30 million or whatever it was.
Hey,
they can't do that.
Saving. Remember saving Gunner for him? Remember the beginning of the season?
They bought their whole class. That's yeah. Well, they bankrupted it. Well, guys, hey man, this is something that's going to be interesting. We're going to continue to track what's going on with the portal. It is heavy recruiting season. The coaches are on the road right now. It is open contact season, so there's going to be a lot of guys being flipped left and right. You're going to see more people entering the portal, and let the fireworks begin, as we shall say. And, guys, it's been a jam-packed weekend. We've got a lot going on going forward. Michigan State basketball, we didn't get a chance to get to that yet. Michigan State does lose a tough loss a couple days ago to Northwestern in the Breslin Center. Tom Izzo's got to figure some stuff out there. We'll get into some detail with that and bring some basketball guys on the show to talk a little bit about that. But final thoughts for this show before we transition into a couple days when we're going to talk more about these things and more.
First of all, that jumper's broke that Jay just put up there. Secondly, I think I get this theme, like there's a song back in the Southern Baptist Church, and it was an old school, like, get your house in order, right? And I think that this is the moment where programs are getting their houses in order, and each individual player has to question and self-reflect of, is my own house in order? And if it's not, we got everyone hitting the transfer portal, and we're going to see a lot of different shuffle pieces, moving pieces, and I'm looking forward to breaking that down and making sure that here at Michigan State we're putting a roster together that's going to be something that we're going to be proud of and get on that field. So get your house in order is the theme here, whole month of December.
I know we're going to be talking hoops and stuff, but I can't wait to talk some hockey.
Yeah.
Little hockey too.
Yeah, the hockey team's hot right now. That hockey team's on fire right now. They got a big one coming up at the end of the week. We
also took a back-to-back L against Minnesota, so it's kind of, let's evaluate and let's get ready for that team down the road at the end of this week, Friday. So the month's gonna be packed, baby. It's gonna be great.
A lot of action, guys. Look forward to it. Thanks, guys, for the show. Sorry we got to go, but we will be back on Thursday at 8 o'clock. Be sure to follow us, subscribe, do all those great things. Until then, have a good night. God bless, and go green.
Go Wire.